Right, we've got a big whopping one for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well, friends. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, spliced match preview of Chelsea versus Everton. A make or break game for me in terms of believing that if we could do it or not. But before the match preview and we talk about Everton and build a lineup together, I do want to speak about a couple of things. Simon Johnson of The Athletics wrote about the big centre-back issue and, of course, the two main targets of Dean Howson and Mark Guehi. Both would offer Chelsea a lot. And as well, because once again, it's been reiterated in mainstream media that Chelsea are interested in Nico Williams, of course, the Athletic Bilbao left-sided winger. And we know from multiple reports from multiple different publications and journalists, Chelsea are interested, which does make me a bit confused because he is on incredibly high wages. And even if, from the outside chance, we qualify for the Champions League and therefore, players get Champions League bonuses in terms of their wages, I'm not sure how we get this done. Of course, he was going to go to Barcelona, but then Rafinha just decided to go Super Saiyan because they wanted to sell Rafinha to accommodate Nico Williams. And now Rafinha is like Ballon d'Or level player, so we'll see what happens there. But what I do want to do is I want to look at Nico Williams' X-Value page, because we haven't done that on the channel yet. So it's a great opportunity to do that as well. Of course, Ornstein again yesterday in his Q&A saying, Chelsea are looking at Nico Williams. Again, rightly, and I sort of do align myself with many of you, I am starting to think Ornstein's a little bit of a mouthpiece for the Chelsea owners. Even if what he's saying is true to a degree, it's so pointed, like, oh yeah, Chelsea are really good, everyone loves Chelsea in a time of turbulence. But still, I do respect his journalism in terms of previous hit rate in getting stories correct. So we're going to look at Nico Williams a little bit, and it's going to be fun, friends. A little bit of housework, quick reminder, thank you as always for supporting the content. If you want to do so, just drop a like on the video. And of course, as always, you're all welcome to subscribe and hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby, if you choose to. Alright, mate, let's start off with the centre-back situation. Like I said here, on The Athletic, Chelsea's Howson and Guehi transfer interest. So what happens to the glut of centre-backs? Because that is a big old question. Simon Johnson writes this. The talk about Chelsea's interest in signing Bournemouth centre-back Dean Howson is getting louder. There are many clubs keen on the 20-year-old due to him having a £50 million release clause in his contract, but Chelsea are deemed to be one of the front runners, which is something, of course, I've been speaking about here on the channel of late. Now, Howson is not the only centre-back on their minds, of course. Chelsea looking at Mark Guehi, Crystal Palace, captain, by the way, and I'd really like Mark Guehi to return personally, and Everton's Jared Branthwaite, of course, a player we'll be facing this weekend. The signing of a central defender depends on exits, and the club have to fund the purchase of a striker and a right-footed winger too. There are two questions to answer on this issue. Why are Chelsea pursuing another player in this position at all, and what are the ramifications for the other centre-backs at the club, of which there are many, guys? Okay, well, should another arrive, it will mean Chelsea could field a first 11 of just centre-halves. It used to be goalkeepers, now it's centre-half. That does not include the ones being developed with the under-21s already on the roster. We have Levi Colwill, ding ding, high ceiling. Wesley Fofana, one of my personal faves. Benoit Badiashile, Tosin Adarabioyo. And people say Adarabioyo, but I think it is Adarabioyo, because that's how the syllables work, and I'm pretty sure he said that before. Oh yeah, Axel Disasi, Trevo Chalobah, Josh Chiampong, Renato Vega, who I guess is a centre-back, and now Aaron Anselmino, and of course Mamadou Sarr. Having 11 for 2 or 3 positions, head coach Enzo Maresca does play with 3 centre-backs on occasion. It's too many centre-backs. Okay? So it's no surprise one of the factors behind Chelsea considering doing this is because of Fofana's injury misses. He's still highly regarded at the club, given he started just 26 Premier League games since joining in 2022. Wow. They have to factor in his injury record. Yeah, look, guys, I love Fofana as a centre-back. I think he could be one of the best, but injuries prevent players sometimes from reaching their potential. This could very much be one of those scenarios. Chelsea's history of selling academy players for large fee to register pure profit on the books means some fans may be wondering if cashing in on Colwill is in their thinking. Chelsea have ignored strong interest from Premier League clubs and abroad before. Of course, we know from certain reports that Liverpool were prepared to pay a lot of money for Levi Colwill before he extended with Chelsea because they saw him as the right kind of player to succeed Virgil van Dijk long terms. He's still being monitored by many teams, Levi Colwill, but sources, and here's that line, speaking anonymously to protect the athletic relationships, yada yada yada, insist Levi Colwill is not for sale. Chalobah is going to be a different story because Chelsea tried to sell the academy last graduate. Apparently we're trying to sell this kid all the time, bless him, I feel bad for him. They had to settle for a loan to Crystal Palace before recalling him in January because of Fofana's injury. He played 27 times for both teams this season, so that will help Chelsea's chances of receiving a decent permanent fee for Chalobah, who is 26 in July, of course, entering his prime as a centre-back. He will want to continue playing regularly and join a leading club. He was linked to Bayern Munich when Tuchel was there, and then Chelsea accepted a transfer fee and offer from Forest, but understandably he didn't want to go to Forest because he thought Bayern Munich. But he didn't know Forest was going to turn into this amazing story. And of course, Ola Aina's his old homie from the academy. Of course, Hudson-Odoi joined, and they're just really good now. But he wasn't to know that. Two others expected to be on outgoing, of course, is Disasi and Vega. The former was loaned to Villa in February, even though he had a bit of a stinker against City, didn't he? To be fair, that's on Unai Emery for throwing him on against Doku. As part of the agreement with the advisors, Chelsea said they would work together to find a permanent transfer for him in the next window. Villa do not have an option or obligation to buy. There's just the loan agreement, which is about 5 million quid. Fair. Oh, man, Villa, by the way, I've said this before, they are in big trouble if they don't get Champions League football because they are 20th in terms of turnover to wages in the Premier League. They spend over 90% of their turnover on wages, and that was largely down to what they've done in January. Everyone was praising Villa for being really ambitious in the January transfer window, but it may have screwed them if they don't reach their targets. Vega has impressed since joining Juventus on loan in January, brought by Chelsea from FC Basel for about, was it £11 million in July? The Portugal international grew frustrated, not playing in his preferred position as a left-sided centre-back, nor not getting any Premier League minutes. Pump the brakes a little bit, Vega. You were playing for Basel. You came to Chelsea, you got significant minutes, and then got an international call-up for Portugal and played competitive games. I mean, I don't know whether to be chill the F out and be appreciative, or respect his ambition, because he's like, I've got momentum, I'm just going to freaking put my foot on the gas. Maybe a bit of both, who knows. But yeah, he's certainly on a crazy trajectory. While Colwill is first choice at left centre-back, it means Chelsea are more likely to listen to offers for Vega due to his rapid development at 21. We're going to make a big profit on him. There's no qualms with that. There's no doubting that. Sorry, I was reading something else and my mind melted. Yeah, we'll make a huge profit on Vega. There's no doubt that. There are no fears over another homegrown asset in Josh Achiampong. Of course, we know that Enzo Maresca is in love with Josh, as he said several times. The 18-year-old is going nowhere, not even on loan. Fair dues. Badiashile is another one earmarked in the stay category. Really? But there is more of a question mark over Tosin, whether he's content to be a backup. He started 78 Premier League games for Fulham between 2024 and when he came to us. Wait, I mean, between 2020 and 2024, okay. But as start, just 13 for Chelsea. Yeah, but did he think he was going to be a starter for Chelsea? Like, was that part of the agreement? I reckon he took good money and the opportunity just to put on the Chelsea shirt to raise his profile. Chelsea signed, so fair enough. I mean, to be honest, it's pure profit, Tosin. Not because he's an academy asset, but because he was a free transfer. And you're 15 million quid? You're laughing. Although Chelsea would probably try and get more. Chelsea signed Aaron Anselmino from Boca Juniors. 17 million quid. 1-7. That is significant. That's like Andre Santos money. He's 20 next week and one for the future. Anselmino spent the rest of the last year loaned back to Boca before given time to adapt at Chelsea's Cobham training base and living abroad in England without the pressure of senior football. Since January, he will be loaned out next season, and there is interest from Champions League and Europa League clubs. To be fair, if we sign this kid for 17 million and he gets loaned to a Champions League club, that probably represents a sensible signing. As Mamadou Sarr, of course, it was bought from Chelsea's sister club Strasbourg for about, 11 million pounds, 12 million pounds. In January, in view of him joining Chelsea this summer, but with Strasbourg for just 4 points off second place in Ligue 1 and on course to qualify for Europe. Chelsea are thinking about leaving him stay there for another season to develop further. To be fair, fine. I mean, I've often forgotten about this lad. I'm not banking on him coming and making a big difference. There's likely to be 5 or 6 players making up the centre-back department next season. That is more than enough to be starting games. And obviously with a new addition as well. Interesting. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, Badia Shields saying is a bit of a wild card for me, because if we do something like a Housen, he's like another left footer on top of Levi Colwill. Seems like a lot. Right, let me just get this next bit ready. Cool. Here we go. So we're going to look at X value for Nico Williams. Let me know what you think about the centre-back situation. But I did want to bring this up on Nico Williams because he's been linked to us for ages now. It kind of died out, the story, when he won the Euros with Spain. He's got this like bestie relationship with Lamine Yamal. They play on each wing, and Barcelona were like Spain's European champions, young wingers. We want them to play for Barcelona. We'll sell Rafinha. We'll bring in Nico Williams, and it's going to be bloody wicked. Rafinha was like, no. Turned into like an absolute demon. And now Barca are like, because he's only 28. It's not like, they're playing Lewandowski in his like mid-30s. A 28-year-old Rafinha who's playing this well. He could lead them to more titles, essentially. So maybe Nico Williams will assess his options. He knows that he's desired in in England, in the Premier League. And Chelsea are very interested. Now, all I can say about his exorbitant wages is we're just going to have to put a pin in that for the moment. Because if he's been constantly linked to us, then we'll... Look at my glasses steaming up. Do you ever get this right? Well, I went for a run this morning. I did a 5K and the sun was out. I got quite hot. I had like a cold shower afterwards. But clearly my head is still hot to steam up my glasses. So I've just got to be blind. This is so annoying. Anyway, Nico Williams. Yeah, we'll just assume we've apparently roadmapped a way to... In the same way we were going to sign Osimhen, and apparently it went right down to the wire in the summer's transfer window deadline. And now you're hearing from different reporters that no clubs can afford Osimhen's wage demands, and he might go to Saudi. Of course, Manchester United are trying to change their ways under Ineos and not pay crazy wages anymore. So, just for the sake of the exercise, let's assume there's a contract to be agreed with Nico Williams for Chelsea. So this is his X value. Yeah, here he is. He is a young man. He is 22 years old, as you can see here. So he's young. He sort of fits the profile of what Chelsea want. He's not necessarily popping off this season. He's got 5 non-penalty goals in 1,900 minutes, as you can see at the top of the page here. He is an excellent player, though, because if you look at his performance spider chart here, very strong in assisting, very strong in passing, which is incredibly important for Maresca. Incredibly strong in carries, which again is very, very, very strong for Maresca. He wants the 1v1s, the wingers that can take on their man. I'm just going to change... I just want to quickly change my webcam. There you go. Because I don't think I was boarded properly. So yeah, man, he's basically the kind of profile Maresca wants, a winger that can take on his man, which is of course represented here as a 1-to-1 explorer. He can go over to the other side, but he's predominantly a left-sided winger. And I mean, just more than anything, this performance spider chart shows that he's a very, very strong player, despite being so young. If we look at his advanced stats, which should give us further context, if this freaking loads, of how he performs per 90 per game. Let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, apologies, it just took freaking forever to load. So here he is. Here is his polar chart. Pretty good. I mean, his non-penalty XG is pretty low. He's not been scoring a lot. His super strengths are dribbling. Dribbles 1. Expected threats from passes are still really good, so he's great at passing and helping the attack. And expected threats from carries, which is the same as dribbling, how much he helps the attack. We look at his stats per 90 here. Yeah, 70. His top 14%, 24%, excuse me, for expected goals. So not a big goal scorer. His XG per shot's really good though. So when he does take a shot, it's high value. His chance creation is very strong. His progression is extremely strong. Expected threat is in the top 2%. Same with expected threats from carry. So in terms of getting the ball up the pitch, getting the attack up the pitch, helping the attack by passing and dribbling, very, very strong. He kind of gives me like Doku vibes in terms of that, in terms of the numbers. But yeah, I mean, he looks great. He's on his smart ranking panel in terms of players he's being compared to. It's like, Rodrigo, Yamal, Vinicius Jr., and stuff like that. And he's basically ranked quite highly in a lot of stuff here. So yeah, he's a superstar in terms of his pedigree, his profile. It would be an exciting signing. It's like one of the most, in terms of young left wingers in the world, he's got to be top 3 most desirable, surely. You might disagree though. You might look at the lack of goals and stuff and think, yeah, I don't really fancy that, which is fine. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and let's talk about this game coming up. All right, so it's going to be a long video. Apologize for that. Yeah, Everton. Everton lost 2-0 to Man City last time out. They didn't play awfully, and I think they got really bad when Tarkowski had to come off. He's played like every game for them for a long time. He's such an important player for their defence, and he will be unavailable for this game against Chelsea. Similarly, their starting striker now in Armando Broja, of course, won't be eligible to play because we're his parent club. But it does mean Beto will come in, who also terrifies me. He's a big, strong, effective striker, and to be honest, I don't know why Beto's not starting over Broja, personally, but, Moyes is seemingly preferring Broja of late in his attack, which means it's of benefit to us that he's unavailable. And yeah, I mean, Tarkowski not being available is just massive. He's their captain, their leader, their best defender, and Keane will be coming in his absence. So, their best centre-back and their preferred striker is out, which is massive for Chelsea. So how are we going to line up? Well, I'm going to use Footbin, as per usual, to build a lineup. Rob Sanchez, who hasn't done anything mental lately, touch wood, will be in goal. This is going to be tough because really worth mentioning as well, we won't have, I was going to put the manager in, but Enzo Maresca won't be there. So, yeah. Are the kids going to have a little bit more fun on the pitch? They can be a little bit more risky. Like the teacher's out. They've got a supply teacher and probably Willy Caballero. Have a bit more fun. Who knows? Cole will start at left centre back. I mean, it's going to be Chalobah. This is what I think. At right centre back. And Reece James, who has to play, really. Who had an absolute shocker, let's be real, the last game. He will be starting at right back, but inverting into midfield, which will see these guys move over a little bit, which is a little bit frustrating because we attack better when Cucurella goes in this pocket. So we could see like a Josh Achampong, who could you would see the Josh Achampong tucking it over here, and then Cucurella can go in the pocket, and these guys will make the back three rather than these three guys. Wow, it's going to be tough, isn't it? So let's just get the obvious boys in there. Fernandez, Caicedo. Lavia is available, by the way, but, you know, I don't see him making a start. I see him maybe coming off the bench, getting some minutes. I mean, Cole Palmer scored 4 goals against Everton. Maybe muscle memory will finally kick in. Some of you guys have been calling for him to be benched. Palmer. I'm not one of them. I mean, I just think we need to keep going until we get that muscle memory back. Now, this is going to be tough. Yeah. Because I think we have to start Neto on the right wing. He scored that wonder goal. And, Noni, underwhelmed. Sancho, Sancho was playing well on the left wing. Who's getting 3 assists, a wonder goal recently. Many of you will be saying, start Sancho on the left and start Tyreek George in the striker position, who's obviously scored a couple of goals recently in the striker position. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to start in midweek in the semi-final of the conference. I think he will feature here for a decent amount of time, like half an hour. So again, we will just be hoping Jackson and Palmer can wake up. And I think Sancho gets the start. And Tyreek George will come on probably as a striker, and Noni will come on as a right winger, I think. And then we might see Lavia as well. And that's my lineup for Everton-Chelsea. Chelsea-Everton. Now, I think we're going to win! Huzzah! And that will give us hope for the final run-in to reach the top 5. Or at least give us hope to... It's the 2 games, isn't it? We might beat Liverpool because they might be drunk still celebrating the title. We should beat United, although we never beat United for some reason. It's not those games though, is it? It's against Newcastle United and it's against Nottingham Forest that will basically be... If you win those 2 games, you will get in the Champions League. But the only way I'll get confidence is if we win a game like this. And because of Everton's absentees, I'm going to say we do win this game. I think maybe they'll get a goal. But I am going to go... And they don't... Because even with Tarkowski, they don't concede loads. So I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea. And a massive 3 points. So let me know what you think. Please do leave your comments down in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about all this stuff I've spoken about today in today's video. I'll be very keen to learn. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.